Good evening, everyone. This is the March 14, 2018 meeting of the Audubon Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded for a later rebroadcast at the Audubon town website, which is audubonguide.com. Before I begin tonight's meeting, I am required to ask if anyone in the audience is making a recording of this meeting.
No.
Okay, well, I didn't think so, but okay. Since no one is doing so, the first item on tonight's agenda is 7 o'clock public hearing. Brad Fisher of Getty Petroleum, notice of intent for the installation of a monitoring well on property located at 65 School Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed to vote. Mr. Fisher?
I'm Alan Gowell, and I'm here
On
on the
the-
group on behalf of Brad Fisher.
Why don't you come on up, sir?
Sure.
Have a seat there. Nice to meet you,
Nice
Alan.
to meet you. So my name is Alan Gowell. I'm a project manager with Antea Group, an environmental consulting firm. I'm here on behalf of Getty Realty regarding the notice of intent to install a shallow groundwater monitoring well at the 65 School Street property. The purpose of the well is as part of response actions under the MCP due to a release of gasoline predating, I think, 2011 that's being investigated and managed through DEP. As part of that response actions, we are looking to basically delineate, obtain a down gradient monitoring point to monitor the existing groundwater plume, to obtain delineation and basically to make sure that the plume hasn't migrated to that extent.
Do you know when the release occurred?
It was prior to 2011. I don't know the exact nature of the release isn't known.
And would the location of the gasoline be these three tanks located next to the former Getty station?
Yes, it's the BP station down in the corner there.
Right.
It's the source area.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay. So describe what you would do with the monitoring well.
Right.
We would sample it, collect groundwater samples for laboratory analysis for a minimum period of 2 years,
All right.
on a quarterly basis. The installation of it, it's a fairly minor process. I do have a picture. Sorry, I would have brought some more, but essentially it's our printer went on the blink right before I came here.
All right.
We can pass these around.
Yeah, if you could, I
Sure.
appreciate it.
That's fine.
We would basically utilize, this wouldn't be the exact model, but it would be a similar kind of track-mounted piece of machinery. We would, because it's at a private residence, we would plank it out with plywood or plastic or something not to damage their lawn. The proposed location is basically in their backyard,
Okay.
within the buffer area. This is basically a schematic of the monitoring well, which would just be, once they get there, they would drill a hole probably 10 to 15 feet deep, maybe about 8 inches diameter. It would probably generate about a wheelbarrow's full of soil excavating, call them cuttings.
Okay.
Those would be probably placed in a drum, well, they would be placed in a drum and brought back to the BP station and carted off eventually. There's no reason to suspect that it would be contaminated or anything like that at that distance, but
Okay.
that's what we would typically do anyways. Essentially, it's a piece of plastic tube, slotted tube that gets installed into the sand pack, and it would be finished off with a flush mount, just a small, probably 8-inch diameter kind of metal manway right there.
Do you know what the depth of groundwater is at the location where you want to put this well?
I do not, but it would be equivalent to the wetland area at the station. It is, I can look for you. Here, I have that. It's, it ranges from 3 to 10 feet, probably an average of about 5 feet at the station. So we'd expect it to be a similar depth there. No more than 10 feet, I would guess.
Okay. And did you give notice to abutters?
Oh, yes, yep, we do. Let's see.
I don't know if you have the green cards, but I didn't see a
I told him
notification.
you could just send the certificate of mailing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which I do have.
If you give that to Ms. Conroy.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see. Do you need copies of the
That
notification
right there.
letter still?
Yes. No, just that sign.
this would be 1 and the 2.
All right, great, thank you.
Okay. When would you propose to start work?
We would be able to, I mean, the entire process would probably take no more than 3 hours, so we could probably do it sometime this month or within, as soon as we can get it scheduled with the contractor.
Once the snow melts?
Yeah, that would probably be, get some dry ground, that would be helpful, yes.
All right, very good.
Are we having more than one well, or is it just the one?
Just the one.
Okay.
There, yep.
And the purpose of it is to mainly monitoring.
Monitoring for, for the response actions for the Getty, the BP station, the former Getty station.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I don't have any questions. Any other questions?
All set.
Do you?
No.
Mr. Liberty, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right. That being said, is there a motion to close?
Make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed, it's a vote.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Gowell, we'll probably render a decision this evening, and you'll hear or get something from Ms. Conroy.
You
Okay,
can call me tomorrow evening, I'll be in the office after 8.
okay, great,
Okay.
thank you, appreciate it.
Alrighty.
Yep. Let me know if you have any other questions too.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, we have a couple minutes before the 7:10 public hearing. We received a request from David Pappas for basically a 3-year extension on the order of conditions we granted to him for his project on West Street back in June of 2015. I think we're all familiar with that property. So, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the request for 3-year extension for 5-lot subdivision at 129 West Street, Melbourne.
I'll second that.
All right, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it's a vote. Okay.
So normally all he would get, well, I guess we do have a full.
Yeah, I think, isn't there an
I
extension?
was thinking it was just the thing, the minutes of the meeting, but there is an extension, I'm sure. Here we go. I hope I've got the signature sheet. Is that- Yes. Fill this all out. Good, I can just sign that.
You're welcome.
All right, the next item on tonight's agenda is the 7:10 PM public hearing, LSS .MA Farms LLC, request for determination of applicability for lots 3, 4, and 5, and notices of intent for lots 1 and 2 for the installation of a commercial solar collection facility on property located on Leicester Street. It's my understanding that the applicant has filed requests to continue the hearing on both the determinations, or the request for determinations of applicability and the notices of intent. Is that right?
That's correct.
And they've requested that these matters be placed on the agenda for March 28th.
That's correct.
What time?
Well, we can have them right at 7 o'clock.
Then why don't we do that? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for LLS Mass Farms LLC to the March 28th, 2018 meeting at 7 p.m.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote?
I have a question.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
sorry, I had a question on that. Did your memo say something about they wanted to leave us time to check over the information they had received?
Yeah.
Is that something we should
I
have?
I don't think we've got it yet.
Okay,
If Matt might have it, and I'll get it, and I'll get
Okay.
it to everybody.
thank you.
Great. Terrific. Okay. And Mr. Liberty, I understand you would like to talk to us about banning plastic bags in Auburn. So why don't you have a seat and tell us about it?
Thanks for letting me come in tonight. So, I don't know, I don't remember what I sent you. Did I send the full report that I drafted for the board? Or was it
No,
just the
I
bylaw?
I don't think I received either, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I think
sent at least
you
this.
just contacted us about coming here, and I just kind of forwarded your email to them.
All right, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I brought this up to the Board of Selectmen a few months ago, talking about the proposal to ban plastic bags. That night, we took a vote to allow me to go and talk to department heads, other communities and committees about the proposed bag ban and try to come up with a feasibility study of it in Auburn. So this is basically what I found over the course of that time. Again, I'm sorry, I meant to send it out to you, but I guess I can
That's
pass
all
it
right.
around.
I can pass it around. If you guys two want to look at it together.
So, the gist of what I found, there are 61 communities in Massachusetts that have already done it. Basically, I looked at the effects, what the negative impacts of plastic bags are, and on the environment and in communities, and what the effects of plastic bag bans are on communities. So I came back with this to the board, and I had a draft of a bylaw that would ban plastic bags in town. And we're holding a public hearing on it at our next meeting, which will be this coming Monday. I think that's the 19th. So we will be receiving input from business leaders in town and just members of the community that have an opinion and want to be heard. We've taken emails from residents as well. The reason I'm here is I've gone to the Board of Health and Solid Waste to talk about it and how it would impact them. The Board of Health would be the enforcing agent, which is why I've met with them. Solid Waste was interested in it because plastic bags a lot of the time end up in recycling bins, and they're not supposed to be. They can't be recycled at the curb, so it ends up being a problem when trash is collected. They'll tangle up machinery. So Solid Waste actually took a vote the day that I went in to talk to them about this, and unanimously decided to endorse the idea of a plastic bag ban. So I wanted to come in to talk to you about it because of the effects that plastic bags have on wetlands and on the waterways in Auburn and throughout the Commonwealth. So I'm not expecting you to take a vote on it tonight endorsing it, but since it would impact an area that you're familiar with, I did want you to be aware of it and to talk about it and ask any questions that you had, give you that opportunity about the bylaw itself, which I should have also passed around,
Okay.
or the idea in general.
I can go make copies of this if you want.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
There was concern, Tristan, that one of the reasons we went to plastic bags when we did was to save the environment and wood and so forth, paper bags.
Yeah.
Now we're going back the other way.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
basically what it is. So the plastic bags are made from natural gas, actually, but
Right.
typically from fracked gas. So, and they're also made from other fossil fuels like oil. The U.S. uses about 12 million barrels, I think, a year from oil for plastic bags alone. The problem with plastic bags is they don't degrade. They'll photodegrade into smaller and smaller pieces, eventually becoming microplastics or nanoplastics. And when they find their ways into waterways and eventually the ocean, they can actually absorb all the toxins around them and concentrate it into little pieces. When they're eaten by animals, the toxins will either release into the body of that animal and affect it, usually in reproductive ways. So it's been a problem with a lot of species, all that are already endangered because it's affecting reproduction. Or it could also kill the animal. And then the toxins can also move up the food chain as those animals are eaten. So it's become a concern if they move up the food chain to people. That's actually why those microbeads that used to be in soaps, the U.S. government banned those completely a few years ago because of that and those effects.
Yeah.
So plastic bag bans have become popular for that. To curb, paper bags have their own effect. Obviously, that you use trees to have, and that's not the best impact on the environment. But to curb that, most bylaws that I've read and the one that I've proposed to the board requires that any paper bag that's used be at least 40% post-consumer product. A lot of towns actually, or businesses already have that. Shaw's, I think, already does. And then there are probably some others. They just haven't labeled it on there that it's 40% post-consumer product. It's pretty common. And that they be 100% recyclable. Some of the studies that I found suggested that above 60% of paper bags are recycled, which is great. And it's around, at most, 13% of plastic bags that are recycled. So because of that, the paper bags would be the better alternative. The best alternative, above everything, would be reusable bags that people bring in with them.
Right. Market Basket, I think, has reusable bags.
Yeah, a lot of stores offer them.
A lot do. Shrewsbury, town of Shrewsbury has, I was myself at Christmas tree shops, and they had them exclusively pretty much since they've gone to that.
Yep, yep.
Strength isn't there yet. Strength is not there yet. It wasn't with theirs anyway, so I don't know what their regulations, what their restrictions were.
Shrewsbury's was a little bit different. They did it by citizen petition. I talked to the chairman about it to see what the problems they had when they tried to implement it.
Yeah.
What they did, and they wouldn't have done it if they had done it through the selectmen, which is how we're trying to do it, but it required that any alternative besides paper or reusable be a marine degradable, compostable, and biodegradable. And there's nothing on the market that's all three of those things, so it was requiring a bag that didn't exist. So that's obviously not in this draft, and that caused some problems in Shrewsbury, and obviously upset retailers that couldn't find.
Quite upset with retailers, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you adopted your bylaw from someone else's.
Several other communities. So I read through every bylaw that is in Massachusetts and picked out.
Oh, that must have been scintillating.
That's great.
Kind of like us.
I know.
We had regs.
We did our own both bylaw and also regulations, and tedious is one way to describe the process. It's important, but it's
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's not. We're boring. It's not very exciting. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I was going to say, Mr. Carpenter commented at our selectmen's meeting that
That one.
that my report was boring. I told him you should have
Oh, yeah.
gone through and read the 60 bylaws. If you really wanted to.
Maybe you should have made it.
It did right, that one.
But has this been reviewed by town council?
No, it hasn't.
Okay, all right. So I'm curious. I mean, I think there are all, as you noted, there are all kinds of studies that talk about the longevity of plastic bags and the problems they cause and the fact that they don't biodegrade. So I guess I'm probably more interested in implementation. Do you anticipate, if this bylaw is adopted, that you would then promulgate some regulations regarding enforcement?
Yeah, so all enforcement would be left up to the Board of Health.
Okay.
So there's a section in there under enforcement that gives them the ability to promulgate, any rules or regulations that they need to really enforce the bylaw.
And I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but assuming this bylaw is adopted, do you see a situation where retail establishments that use plastic bags would be given a certain deadline or period of time to basically eliminate plastic bags from I guess their use?
Yep, so right now this bylaw gives all retailers a 6-month period.
Okay.
Something that the board is open to, I'm open to it, and we might consider it, is an extension specifically for retailers under a certain size. I think there are 12 communities, yeah, it was 12 communities that have done that. The size varies. It could be a business under 10,000 feet, under 8,000, or under 3,000 feet were the most common numbers. So they might have an additional 6 months, maybe they'll have a year, or an additional 3 months.
When you contacted the other towns, did you inquire about enforcement, or I guess maybe better yet, compliance by different retail establishments to the law?
Yep, so I talked to specifically Natick, Amherst, and Shrewsbury about their enforcement. None of them had any real problems with it. They didn't have retailers that were purposely out there violating the law.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons I threw in here that we have, they can only give a warning for a first violation. Then that retailer has 15 days to correct it, and then after that they can only get at most a $25 fee.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, I don't think that answered your question.
It
What was
does, actually. Yeah, that's fine. So they found, the other towns found that businesses did comply with the bylaw once it was enacted.
Right, yeah, they had some trouble getting the information out there. Shrewsbury and Amherst did, because those were enacted by citizen petition. Natick didn't have that same problem because they did what I'm trying to do in Auburn, which is go through all the boards and committees, go through the Board of Selectmen, have conversations with the Chamber of Commerce now before it even gets voted on. So retailers see it coming and they're prepared to adapt to it. When it was done by citizen petition, the towns that saw it were learning as the retailers were, so they weren't there to help retailers along with the process. So there was some confusion that we're looking to avoid.
Okay.
Neighboring towns, Oxford, Walmart,
Yep.
Middlebury, Blackstone Valley Malls. How have you talked with any of them?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point, because on the cover of that, those are taken, those pictures
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
of plastic bags from around town. One of those is a bag from Walmart. There's no Walmart in Auburn, so that was clearly
Right.
coming from the Oxford store.
Absolutely.
So I have reached out to Oxford and Millbury and a few other towns. Millbury seemed the most interested in it. They held a, they sent it to their recycling committee to look into it and write a report for them. They decided to take no action on it at the time. Since then, citizens have reached out to me from Oxford, Sutton, Millbury, and was that it? There might have been one in Charlton, because Charlton doesn't have that many retailers, so that wasn't a big deal. But about doing it by citizen petition in those areas. And they were actually prepared to do it this coming town meeting, so it would be in May. When it became clear that Auburn's wasn't going to be on the May town meeting warrant, I told them and said that they might want to hold off if they wanted to do it all at the same time when it had the most likelihood of passing. And I think most of them decided to do that. I haven't heard back from them, so it might end up on those town meeting warrants in some of those towns, but I think for the most part they decided to, that's what I recommended anyway.
What is the next procedure from you're talking to all the commissions now, and there's going to be a town meeting, not a town meeting, a selectmen's meeting that you invited everyone to on the 19th. What is the procedure from there that you expect? How do you expect to proceed?
So from there, I don't know if we'll take the vote on the 19th, depending on what we get.
Okay.
But we'll see how the other members of the board feel. But the process from there is if it gets voted down, then from the board, then that's the end of it, unless a citizen in town wants to do it by citizen petition, which they'd be welcome to do.
Mm-hmm.
The other option, the other scenario is if it passes the Board of Selectmen, either on the 19th or at our next meeting after that. And from there, it would go town council and so on to... right,
To town meeting.
Yeah, town meeting.
Okay.
And that would be the fall town meeting.
Okay, it would be after.
We're just looking at this, all this debris in the grass and thicket, and how like across from the Auburn Mall, I'm sorry, the Auburn Plaza, it's just.
Well, that's the problem. You know, it blows into a tree and it stays there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
And it doesn't degrade, so it's not, I mean, not only is it an eyesore, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, when we go on our site walks, we often see, you know, among other debris in like a stream or a wetland area, you know, bags are kind of ubiquitous,
yeah,
you know? So I think it's a problem.
yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm tracking
Well,
down
Mr.
Monday.
Liberty, thank you very much for coming in,
Thank you,
and,
Monday.
Thanks for having me.
you know, good luck with your proposal, and if possible, hopefully one or more of us will be at the meeting on Monday.
All right, great.
If you want to scan that, if it's scanned and you can email it to me.
Oh, sure,
That
yeah,
would
I
be
actually
great,
have
then
it,
I
and I can
can-
send it out to all of you.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Well, good luck with it. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. I don't
I
understand,
personally do.
they have like plates, cutlery that are totally biodegradable, that goes in a landfill, it breaks down to nothing, but they can't come up with some kind of a bag
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean?
I
It's
talked
like-
to one store in Shrewsbury that is using, they found biodegradable ones. I think they had to get special permission to use it though, because Shrewsbury's bylaw requires it to be
Oh,
marine
right.
degradable.
Yeah.
This one, it doesn't.
Yeah,
have
like
that
you said, with all
problem,
three, yeah,
Yeah.
but like,
So-
you would think they'd be able to come up with something. I mean.
Biodegradable only,
Well,
yeah.
even look at how many places they don't even offer bags. You know,
Yeah.
BJ's. I mean,
true.
Spags.
Spags,
Years
back in the
ago,
day.
never
Well,
had
back in
bags.
the
You
day,
had
they tell
to
you, I
No
have a
bags,
Spags
no
bag.
bags.
I
yeah,
still
bring
have a
something for
Spags
yourself
bag.
to carry it, or get one of their boxes.
Yeah, the
Were they the
box.
first ones that came out with those like canvas
so. I
bags
have
or
that
whatever,
one.
probably, right?
I do
Well,
have.
thank you very much for coming in and
Alright.
explaining
Thank you.
things. Did you need my email address? Or you can send it to Matt? Are you dealing with Matt or anybody?
I'll take your email address.
Okay. Just, I got some paper right here.
Just went through that. Just have to stop being so,
All right, thank you.
stop being so punctual, Sheila.
What?
Stop being so punctual with these meeting minutes. I go, oh, she's got it already.
Are we gonna hold off on the meeting minutes till the next meeting?
Actually, I
Let's
don't
look
think we
at it
have
now.
to. I already did.
Do it,
Why,
yeah.
you want to hurry?
No, I wasn't,
But we
did.
have the minutes from the last meeting. We also have to
Order of
vote on an
conditions.
order of conditions
Mm-hmm.
for
Right.
School Street.
Right here.
So Sheila had
Street.
sent the meeting minutes around some time ago. The only change that I noted and requested was that it be noted that the meeting was recorded but not televised.
Yeah. I
So
did
sort of-
make that change. I think I made
And
that
aside from that,
copy here.
I thought the minutes were fine.
I didn't see anything. I went through it.
So is there a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of the meeting on Conservation Commission meeting on February 21st, of February 21st.
28th?
I'm sorry.
Because we didn't meet on the 21st.
Sorry about that. It's supposed to. On the 28th.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, is there any discussion?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it's a vote.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
great.
And then with respect to 65 School Street,
that's right.
let me just offer some comments and then we can hopefully come up with an order of conditions. I think given the limited work that's being done there, we're talking basically a tube that's probably, I don't know, 4 to 5 inches across, if that. That probably an as-built plan is not needed. That would be that's my belief. So having said that, who wants to take a crack at the order conditions for 65 School Street?
I would love to.
Okay, that's the spirit.
I would
That's
make
what
a
want.
motion that we issue for an order of conditions for Brad Fisher at Getty Petroleum for the installation of a watering well and property at 65 School Street, Auburn, Mass.
Okay,
A standard order,
Good, he's got them all there. Good boy.
and I only found 4 on him. Like, the first one,
yep,
no storage. We don't need the as-built, so we'll scratch that one.
okay,
Number 3,
yep,
and number 8.
How about 5?
Erosion.
Yeah, all right, number 5.
Okay.
1, 3, 5, 8.
All right, so standing order plus 1, 3, 5,
5
and
and
8.
8.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Or any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so vote.
Okay. Here we go. 3,
So that's the
5,
big sheet versus
8. Okay, we're good.
What happened to the girls tonight?
I don't know, we should try to find out, though.
I think Michelle's been sick.
Yeah, well, I thought she said she was coming. But maybe something
She said she
happened.
felt well. She
Oh, okay. Got retired, just going back to work.
Sure, you want this? You want that too? She can.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Look at that.
All right, thank you,
Night.
Kristen.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay. Is there any other business?
Let's see. That's 228, that's right. That's right.
Okay, we received a call, apparently Sheila received a call from Bonnie Samia. She's the lady whose yard was flooding because of the project Mr. Fan was putting in. Is it Pioneer Lane?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, right.
And-
She's on Waterman Road.
Right, she's on Warman Road,
Yes.
and of course, we've been out there many times. And so I think we all believed that Ms. Gravosky, through his work, had alleviated the condition. So apparently she complained that her backyard had flooded, and don't know any of the circumstances, don't know the reason for it. And then, of course, we had 18 inches of snow yesterday. So I think what we need to do, or I would suggest, is that when the snow does go away, and it'll probably go away in the next couple of weeks, that we try to go out there and see what's going on. See if there's, if in fact Mr. Fan needs to do more remediation, or if there's anything for us to do, really. So, all right. If there is no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Where does CVS push their snow, dump their snow?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I can tell you that most businesses like that push their snow towards the back of their parking lot. And and that might be an issue. So,
Thought it occurred to me, because
but I'm not sure we know.
no, I don't know.
And if you can visualize the site, the CVS is on the hill to the
Right.
left.
Right, not
Is
really.
that right?
Oh, if you're looking at it
Right.
going towards Fan's property.
I'm looking at it from the
Oh,
perspective
yeah, yeah.
of Mr. Fan's
Okay.
property.
Oh, for Mr.
Yeah, it'll be on the
Vance.
left.
It's on the left side,
yeah,
and
yeah.
of course, Ms. Sammy's property is on the right
Yeah,
side.
it is.
So I don't know if there's any cause and effect there. I don't know, but it's a good question. So maybe we will see something when we go out there.
It's a thought. It's a
Yeah.
thought.
So anyway, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed to vote.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everyone.